let them do their thing starting Wednesday afternoon. Okay. Very pleased, and that's how we go about it. Okay.
Wigglesworth,
Street improvement.
street improvement.
Street improvements, hot dog, my favorite. Street improvements, I spoke with Southern Paving, who was awarded this year's paving contract. If you recall, we're not bidding out any tar and gravel. This year, we're pretty well caught up, so we're gonna take 1 year hiatus from tar and gravel. But Northwest Avenue was noted in our inspection report by VDOT, and so we'll be doing from Barco Road to, the 460 interchange. About $345,000 was the bid, and we brought that to you probably in October or November. And it's Southern Paving. They indicated they'd be here late May, early June. And the reason for the question was, as you know, we receive a quarterly VDOT payment, and I need to know cash flow wise, do I need to be able to pay them out of this payment that we receive in March or in the payment in June? And I think the payment in June. So we'll have some more cash in our checking account this month because we're not going to be using it for paving purposes. Also let you know that we are on the Commonwealth Transportation Board's agenda. We applied for a State of Good Repair grant, if you guys recall, and it was it's over 500,000. I think it was $549,000 that we applied for. It would be a 100% grant, and it would be paving of South Main from the southern corporate limits to where we terminated the paving in front of the car wash last year. Okay, and equally tough pavement, but not as bad as Northwest Avenue. We'll let you guys know if we're approved for that, and then you can sign an award, and hopefully we'll get it done this summer, if the VDOT schedule permits. Moving on. There we go, Wigglesworth. We started working on the concession stand, as you saw, the $202 building permit for the renovations to the concession stand. You guys have been working in there every day, and we have approximately wired. We wanted to get a rough-in inspection before they started any further framing or any wall coverings and that sort of thing. So the guys are working in there every day. We have two guys doing the work. Andre is ordering the septic pump and tank, and as you may recall, we have to pump it from there. There's not an immediate gravity line, so we're going to have to pump it back up to Birch Street, and so we'll be running it up to Birch Street. Okay. As you can also see, if you go out there, there is a ditch witch, which is our trencher, and they're putting in the lines to the stadium lights, and they'll be working on those as well. Okay. Questions?
So basically, only thing we lacking mostly now is the scoreboard.
I've got to buy a scoreboard, that's correct, yep. Mhm. But I'm going to be able to tell you how nice a scoreboard we're going to be able to get based on how much of that $50,000 we spend on the activities that we're doing right now. All right.
Is the town's employees' labor being charged to
It is
that
not.
$50,000? It's not? Okay. Thanks.
All right,
Yeah, I just asked him.
next. Nothing to report on Taylor Bottom immediately, but next month I will have a grant application for you at the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Armory, contractors have completed the known structural repairs. That where we have found rot in the building, we have shored it up. We talked about that change order. Could there be additional? We did remove the roof or the ceiling in the stage area, and we're well pleased to see that visibly from 20 feet down, we didn't see anything particularly egregious, and there already is a lintel or angle iron across the backside. There may have to be some patching, but not another angle iron if the architect and the inspector think that we need to a sister board onto the beams. Roof replacement is ongoing, as you can see. They're taking off all the shingles. Those will be replaced with insulation, I think, very shortly, and you'll see a standing seam metal roof on top of that. Okay.
They took off all the slate shingles?
They took off all the slate shingles.
What are you doing with those?
Contractors are keeping them
Why?
because
They're valuable. We could take bids on that and have money for something
It's
else.
part of the contract.
Was it?
yeah, it was stated that the contractors get to keep the shingles. I'll be honest with you, they were mighty good about taking them off. I expected them to be busted and
Well, I'm sure they were.
oh, they
I
pried
would
those
be
babies
too.
off one at a time, took the nails out, and they are valuable. Buckingham slate shingles for sure. But I had an expectation they were going to be a little tougher on them. If they were our shingles, I don't know if they'd have been as cautious taking them off. But yeah, they are valuable. Another roofing contractor actually approached us to see if he could buy them, and I said they've already. I mean, the contractor doing the work by contractor is allowed to keep them. Roofing replacement, as you know, is ongoing. They were up there on the rubber roof looking at that today, so I suspect that's going to be forthcoming shortly. The concrete, if you could see out front, if anybody went by today, they were putting the steel for the foundation of the handicap ramps that'll go on the front, and the elevator shaft has not started yet this week, but they have to take the mud out or the dirt out and then come back with the concrete, and that had not yet started. Again, last week the town staff, including Ronnie Coleman, I want to call him out for doing a good job for tearing all this stuff down. Other guys helped, obviously, but Ronnie has committed himself to getting that terribly dusty and very noxious, though not hazardous, material off the walls out there, and did a good job in the past couple of weeks. Okay, moving on.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The rather confident request for the $500,000 grant that Chastity was going to submit for Southeast Crescent to help with the armory, was that submitted?
It has been submitted, and we're waiting. Can tell you that we'll receive notice whether we received it or not in April as well.
And you did accept the 383 from the Tobacco Commission?
Certainly.
And have you got anybody looking at the kitchen, ceiling, floor, painting, and exterior of the armory?
That's another agenda item tonight.
It is? Another
is.
item?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Weatherization.
Weatherization. Excuse me, weatherization, nothing to report at this time. I think there's been some concerns. What do we do with the weatherization money when it's paid back? It is set aside. I'm not recommending in this forthcoming budget, I'm not recommending any additional monies, but the monies we have collected, including the $40,000 that the county gave us for weatherization, will be put into a project. We've got 2 houses we're trying to finish now. We're going to enter, I think, into more workforce housing. But yes, there will be a weatherization project undertaken. I don't think it'll be enough to build a home, but maybe renovations, okay?
Why would we spend it on brand-new houses when there are people that are cold in the homes they're in?
Two different
Thank you.
programs, two different programs.
Weatherization.
Weatherization and workforce housing, two different
Two
things.
different
I thought you
programs.
was talking about weatherization.
Yeah, weatherization money will be used for weatherization purposes. Let the
much-
record reflect.
How much do we have in the weatherization now?
I'd have to reconcile what the payments have been recently, including one individual paid off. We also have another home that's,
$1,000, he wants to reconcile.
He wants to know where his money went.
it is going back into weatherization. And the county gave us $40,000 for weatherization,
So how much you think is in our roughly?
about 75,000 bucks. But we gotta reconcile it, and that gentleman's 30,000, and plus any other payments that have been received since the last reconciliation.
With this bill, did it pass, that 906? Should we consider
I
some
don't
of, the-
think the governor's taken it up yet, has he?
some of the funding?
The governor has not approved it, but that's part of some of the discussions. If you read the minutes from the finance committee, I think there were some discussions about options or alternatives of how to respond to that. And you ask about cash flow issues, that's forthcoming, and
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
yeah, no
if we've
problem.
got that now that has, instead of using it, maybe we could hold it and use it when we need it, if that comes through, it would help with that.
It's an option, sure. So I'm not going to recommend new weatherization project for fiscal year '25. We will use the monies on hand, including the county's $40,000.
But we normally budget $50,000 for wet.
Typically budget 50, but I'm not going to this year just because I don't know what's happening with 906. And that may be 50,000 we need to cover some of our costs if people aren't paying their utility bills on a regular basis.
I don't think that's a good idea,
What?
not having a winterization
I don't either.
fund.
I don't either.
Something's got to give, guys. I mean, we've got to find
I mean,
options.
that's a $50,000 decision that the council should probably be involved in
But,
deciding, I would think.
But my thing about it is, see, if you fixing up these houses, cutting back on the utility bills and stuff too.
I came up with that idea several years ago, and council's acquiesced and let me include it. But until we know completely what's going on with 906, it's at least one of the things that in my recommended budget I won't have in there. You guys can add it back in there. Certainly, it's your budget ultimately, but I'm concerned about. Alta Vista should be concerned about the state no longer allowing you to cut off utility bills until they're 60 days delinquent, irregardless of how much time you give them to start with. They've got to be in arrears 60 days, and it applies to water and sewer, and it applies to any other utility. I don't know if Alta Vista sells water and sewer. They may or may not. I don't know.
Water and sewer, but not electricity.
Not electricity. We do electricity, which makes it compounded because the bills are predominantly electricity. So I'm nervous about it. I am.
Have you thought about any kind of program, to incentivize like a 1% discount if you pay on earlier on time? 1%'s like $1, you know, for every 100, $3 a bill.
And it may not be as catastrophic as I'm expecting it potentially could be. It may be fine. We may get through the first 6 months and say, Phil, this was totally overblown. People are paying their bills on time and we're not having an issue. And that'll be good news. If I'm wrong, that's great news. But I do think we need to have our ducks in a row in case it does become a cash flow issue for the town. Because we can't cut off water and sewer either, nor electric. And that's 90 days from the date of the beginning of the reading period, which is now is 30 days, and then it's 60 days after delinquency.
I thought you came up with another thing where it was,
I think we can reduce it by 15 days by being
I
covered
mean-
with how the bill is read.
That's what we're talking about at Finance Committee, is different options, some ideas how to soften the impacts or the potential impacts.
Until it's approved, though, I mean, it's all a moot point. I mean, we're still waiting for it to be approved by the governor, so.
But weatherization's not a moot point.
That
I
is,
mean, all that's gonna be done within the budget as
It's
well.
gonna be in the budget process.
in the budget process.
You get to,
Correct.
you get to vote on the budget,
Talk about it.
and we can adjust line by line at y'all's
however you
pleasure.
want to do it, but I've got to find some security measures for the town.
All right,
I haven't found any yet,
let's move on.
and
to
anybody can live with. I'm still working on finding one that everybody can agree upon.
Number 9.
All right, workforce housing. We're finishing the last 2 homes, and again by May 1st, and I may be pessimistic at May 1st. I think in the month of April, you'll see people moving in there. Chassis, we've been working on that, and we're very pleased to say that it looks like we'll be able to start 2 new homes with the revolving fund. As monies are paid to us by Virginia Housing for the mortgages on those homes, we'll be able to take on at least 2 more houses.
we're gonna keep them same contractors, right? Those are,
Yeah, good contract.
out of my experience with them, those are the best that I've seen.
They have
so
been the
far.
best contractors since I was in Amelia.
Yeah,
That's-
they on the ball.
They've been working on
Work on
projects with us for
something.
20 years now.
So,
Roundabout, nothing to really to report on that. Next month, I will have some easement documents for you because they are asking for council to consider some of those, but they came in very late last week, and I don't think we're in a particular hurry, but in April, you will see some easement, water line easements that they'll prepare for us. Surplus list, I think there's 4 items on the surplus
Yeah,
list.
Next is new business. Members of council, you have in your packet a list of items that the manager is requesting to be surplused. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Mr. Nash moves and Mr. Almond second. Is there any discussion?
Concrete forms for like sidewalks.
For curb and gutter primarily, but yeah, they could be used for sidewalks.
Didn't town used to do that work?
We quit doing it probably 14
that's a
years ago,
yes.
13 years ago.
I mean, could we not save some money if,
I don't have anybody that can do it
anybody?
in
can
the
do
street
concrete
department.
Not those forms anyway. You should see them.
Yeah, these forms are, I tried to sell them to Jason Walker and he scoffed. And
Pretty rough.
they're pretty bad. I think, in fact, I'm not even gonna try to sell them. I'm gonna scrap them, carry them down to ABC and chuck them in the pile down there.
Any other questions? Ask for a I ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Where's item number 2 is
This is the one, that-
manager's requesting authorization to extend the town's arrangement with HDH Associates?
I think at the last council meeting, we talked about issuing an RFP for architectural services to help us with the painting, the floor finishing, and design of the kitchen for the Armory project. I went back and read the existing agreement that the town has with HDH, who are the architects that were initially hired to design the roof for the tavern. I know these guys. I like these guys. I don't have any problem with them. I'm not prepared to make a recommendation to expand the contract with Commonwealth Architects at this time. I'm not really been impressed so far. And it does allow you to extend that agreement not only for the roofing, but if you looked at the RFP, it was also for capital design or design of capital projects. And I would ask, and if you look at the dates on it, it was signed in March of 2023 and set to expire. So I would ask, and I think the document's actually dated March 20th of 2023. And we are asking for a 1-year extension. I don't think we need to extend it any beyond that. And this would be, this particular project would be specific to the Armory, completing those activities that are not currently in the architect's scope of services. And I'm asking you to extend this agreement by 1 year so that we can engage them to get that done.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Mr. Page moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams properly seconds. Is there any more discussion?
Does this include the exterior?
It can. It can.
Does it?
It does not specific. We don't have a specific task order. The only 3 items that I know that are outside of the scope is the floor, the painting of the interior, and the kitchen. If we would like to, or if money permits, we can add the outside.
What's the plan right now for the outside?
There is no plan for the
There's
outside.
no plan for the exterior of the Armory.
Nothing. If you would like to provide the funds to do it, I'd be more than happy to do it. I think it needs to be done, but currently there's not enough cash to do that.
Shouldn't we get some, like, estimates on ideas or
Certainly.
proposals from somebody that are?
This would be your perfect individual to do that. While he's doing these other items, he can include that, and we could bid it as an alternate when we do the other activities. And so you'll have a firm idea of what that alternate would be, which wouldn't commit you to accept it. You could segregate that from the primary activities of the bid. You could bid it as an alternate, and then you have a number.
We should strive to preserve the integrity of the history and all of the outside as we're going through this, and that would be great, I think.
So you're talking about
We
stripping
can
it
include
down.
that if you'd like to.
I mean, that's options, whether to strip it or whether to paint it, whether to,
My focus is to finish the inside of the building. I get folks want to do something with the outside. Not opposed to it, or not trying to slow it down, but I really got to finish the inside and find out what monies we got. And therefore, bidding it as an alternate may be one of the things that, hey, it can fit in with the amount of money. And what we find out from that Southern Crescent grant application is how far we can go.
didn't it come in a couple 100,000 less than expected on the?
I actually came in right at expected. I was expecting higher, but it came in at 3.7. And I think we had, I don't know,
2, right?
you had 2.25 for architectural and construction through ARPA. You have $1 million from Industrial Revitalization Fund, $81,000 from the Tobacco Commission, not including the 121 that we just received. Those are the committed dollars. This additional 500 would get us there. So we're close. We're tight, Jake. There's not extra money at this time to commit to any kind of other activities. Okay.
You will get them to give an idea on the outside of it.
And all that
Definitely.
money still doesn't include the inside for the finishings, the kitchen.
That 3.7 does not, no. Not the finishes. It repairs all the plaster. It does all the work, but it doesn't paint the interior, doesn't finish the floors. It repairs the floors in preparation for finishing and does not include the kitchen. All right.
So my question is, initially, we could spend another $500,000, including change orders and stuff.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
How do we agree to that? I guess I'm asking.
Well, the first thing
What
is
I
I
don't
gotta point out
understand.
is that, the voters approved a referendum of $2 million of town funds,
We're going to be pushing $5 million when this is done.
so.
And plus, we also received a $250,000 grant from the Virginia Brownfields Fund to remove the asbestos and the lead-based paint and the underground storage tanks.
All right, any other questions? There's a motion to,
Let me address very, very quickly
Absolutely.
again. I know the skepticism. I see it on your face. But guys, we're doing the best we can with no resources from the town. You haven't put a dime in this thing yet. And I hope that stays the case. Am I confident that's going to be the case? I'm not fully confident that's going to be the case, but we're going to do the best we can, as we've been doing. We've put together more grant money for this project than I ever thought possible. And that's because we have Virginia Union and Virginia State with us. But I don't know if you're going to get off at $0.
We don't say we haven't put a dime. We also used our ARPA money that we could have used for
You
other
could have used
projects.
water projects,
So
but
that's-
you haven't used any local tax dollars for this project.
Correct.
Okay.
Anything else? No. We have, Mr. Page has moved and Ms. Williams is second to approve the manager's request to extend the, professional service agreement with HDH Associates for an additional 12 months. I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Allman.
Then do we need to addendum it to include,
I think he's gonna do that as a courtesy.
Yeah, we'll get a task order before you and then,
and
yeah.
Motion carries 7-0. Next item. Next item is number 2 or number 3? Number 3? Item number 3 is a mutual aid agreement, by Electricities of North Carolina and the town. Mr. Manager, you have
If you
anything
guys
to add?
remember in February of 2021, we were desperate, and state of Virginia mutual aid was not available to us because other communities in Virginia were facing the same ice storm. But we contacted folks through Robert Thomas, and folks assisted us, and through Arvima and MEPAV, they hooked us up with the equivalent of MEPAV, which is the Virginia side. This is Electricities of North Carolina, and they did provide services. They were the only communities that came to our mutual aid at the time, even though we weren't members of Electricities. And as a matter of protocol, we had to join Electricities after that. And this is the renewal of the mutual aid agreement, saying that we'll come to their aid or they'll come to our aid in the event of a emergency. It describes who pays for hotel rooms and mileage and all those kinds of things. But
No cost to be a member, it's just a.
yeah, there is it's a relatively small, I think this year's dues were $1,700, but not egregious amount of money.
It's a priceless service if we have ice storm.
They saved our tail, man. We'd have never got that power back on.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Miller moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Allman, second. Is there any more discussion? The motion is to enter into a mutual aid agreement with Electricities of North Carolina. Any discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. I'm a little out of sync here. What's next item?
Lakeview, isn't it?
Lakeview Cemetery, software bids. Mr. Manager?
I am not prepared to make any recommendation. We opened the bid on Friday, and some are lump sum bids, some are by the number of grave spaces, so we'll bring those back to you in April because I don't think we have a fair and equitable apples-to-apples comparison. I would have to do some work on it, so.
Very good. Item number
fair.
5 is business license review.
I bring to your attention, section 54-123, which was adopted by council back in December, if I'm not, December 18th. In regards to business licenses, and it now does impose civil and criminal penalties. The penalty for criminal activity is, a misdemeanor has occurred if they are 30 days in arrears on paying a business license, operating with a business, or without a business license. The business licenses were due at the end of February, 1st of March. The 1st of April will be before your next council meeting. I'm just notifying you. There are, as of Friday, 73 individuals who have not gotten business licenses, who had them last year. Some may not be in business right now, and we have to go through, but there are some brick and mortar folks here in town. I don't take great pleasure in filing criminal charges, but the policy says after 30 days, we're entitled to do so. I will exhaust every collection effort, but I'm letting you guys know that we may very well be in a criminal business,
Any
Starting April
questions from members of council?
unless y'all have something else. We are gonna try to exhaust every collection effort, but 73 businesses in the town as of Friday had not gotten business license.
All right. That concludes the new business, committee referrals. I spoke earlier about, the RFP proposals are hereby referred to, Ms. Williams and Building and Grounds Committee. Any other, Mr. Manager, any other committee referrals that you know of?
No, sir.
Mayor's Minute, I have one item. In your package, there's a letter from Mrs. Janet Bennell of Lunenburg Avenue. She's raised some points that I'm gonna refer to the attorney And then I think after we hear from the attorney of what our responsibility is on ditches on private property, then I think it might even warrant a work session. But, I would like to come back to council with, Mr. Harf's opinion, and we go forward from there, okay?
Dion just reminded me, and we had talked about this earlier. If you remember, the fire department received a pickup truck. Who donated that rascal to you? And then we ultimately expired its usefulness, and we surplused it and sold it, and moving on. Dion has approached me. Initially, I think the truck was pretty expensive. They had it rigged out. After we do the fire truck and we've reconciled with the equipping and all that sort of thing, plus the $63,000 that'll be forthcoming, Dion would like to at least order a pickup truck for the fire department. We also have that other truck that we have the cash sitting in the bank, but these are cash purchases. There won't be any borrowing, but Dion would like to use their equipment, money that they receive from the county for apparatus, and we've reconciled ourselves. We're paid back in full, and I think that after June, when you receive your county money, I think you'll have enough to pay for that truck. Part of the reason we're asking now is simply because, man, it's taken a year, 18 months to get vehicles, and as the crew cab truck took us almost 2 years to receive, I have an expectation this may be the same, and asking authorization to order a pickup truck for the fire department.
Is that, on state bid?
It would likely be on a state bid, yeah.
Animal control truck came in, right?
It's here.
But that was already ordered before we started working on that issue, right? Or did we order it after?
Gosh, I can't remember the exact chronology or the
Man,
yeah, it may very well. But that truck is here, and I think tomorrow night, I think you'll hear from Sam about organization in the police department and that kind of thing. We have a police employment committee meeting tomorrow at 6:30, and if anybody would like to come, but I think Sam will make some presentation on what his future as far as officers and investigators and animal control.
Council, you've heard the manager's request to authorize, Chief Domer and Manager Van Orbeck to order a new pickup truck for the fire department. What's your pleasure?
So moved.
Mr. Miller moves, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Nguyen seconds. Any discussion?
We're talking two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, crew cab, dually?
Four-wheel drive crew cab.
Any dollar amount limit on it?
State bid.
It's state bid. You know, they already went through the pickup, I had to look through, wanna say it was under 50, if I'm not mistaken.
You see, we just bought a four-wheel drive, but ours is a half-ton, yours is it a three-quarter ton?
Wanna say it's a half.
Half-ton, we just paid $45,000.
Is it replacing another truck?
Yes.
It's
Well, the
like
one we bought's a police interceptor, you're not gonna have that package, yeah.
Like a brush
I
truck?
mean, we need to get there, but I don't know if we have to get there that quick. You know what?
I think Mr. Gormas is saying, shouldn't we put a number on the motion?
Well, typically the councils follow state bid. It's a fixed number. It's kinda out of our control, so. But I would entertain if you wanna offer a substitute motion.
No.
Any other discussion? Mr. Miller's moved, Ms. Nguyen is second to authorize the order of a new pickup truck for the fire department. I ask for roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Allman.
Aye.
Aye.
This motion carries 7-0. The next item is the police report. You have, the chief's report in your package. Is there any questions for Chief Murphy? In your informational package, you have several, correspondence. Is there any questions or comments about any of this data? There's, hearing none, this is the time, yes, sir.
I just wanted to point out, we have a April 1st planning commission with a pretty big agenda. So if anybody has any interest in any zoning requests that are coming up, you can obviously read them in the paper. But April 1st will be a planning commission meeting. There'll be 2 rezonings, text amendment request, and 2 subdivisions coming before you. The planning commission.
Very good.
Who's on the planning commission now? Is that you,
Mr. Miller?
You've got a meeting on April 1st.
Very, very good. Now is the second opportunity for anyone that would like to come speak to the council. Is there anyone that, would like to come forward? Any other business to come before the council? I'm gonna adjourn this meeting at 9:33. I think y'all handled that well with the RFPs.